Russia celebrates Christmas on January 7th. It is a wonderful holiday that draws millions of Russian Christian believers into churches. It's not a commercial holiday, no presents are usually given. It is rather the special time in the souls of people dedicated to God. In the past, I went to church every Christmas, and I even filmed going to a church on a Christmas Eve ceremony once and uploaded it to YouTube to share that very authentic Russian experience with the entire world. This year, I celebrated Christmas with my family. None of us visited a Russian church. I, along with millions of other Eastern Orthodox parishioners in Russia and all over the world outside of Russia, did it for a reason. And now I would like to explain why that reason is for me, why I think so, why I've done what I've done. Howdy, everyone. My name is Konstantin. Welcome to Inside Russia, where usual Russia is explained by the unusual Russian. As usual, you will not find any BS, propaganda, or lies here. You will rather find truth, common sense, and logic, and emotions too, because I am a human being after all. Howdy, everyone. My name is Konstantin. Well, first things first. Before I start the message, before I start telling you my take on church, Russian church, and how it's having a crisis of faith, what I'm going to say today is solely my opinion. Discussing church is a very sensitive process. I do not intend to hurt anyone's feelings. I'm just sharing my thoughts and observations. The observations that I have made over quite some time. Now to the message. The attendance of Eastern Orthodox Church all over Russia is dropping. The church itself does not release the attendance data, it never does, I think for obvious reason. The information comes from a rather unusual source, the federal police. It does release a number of attendance for all churches in the country for Christmas Eve service. Well, it did. The data for 2024 showed us that there were 1.4 million Russians attended the churches all over the country. The population of Russia is a bit above 140 million people. No one knows exactly how many have left. The number that I hear often is 146 million people. So it makes it about 1% of people of Russian population who attended the Christmas services. In 2019, the last year before COVID-19 and the war, there were 2.6 million parishioners attended the Christmas service, according to the federal police. And it looks like 2024 was the last year that the police released the official data. No such luck for 2025. The newsreels usually explode on the 8th of January on every year, telling, citing the federal police, telling how many people attended the previous night, attended Russian churches, but not this year. The most favorite tactic is used, I sense that. They are keeping silence as if they never released the data in the past and they don't even know what it is. Stepping stones. Bit by bit, they're changing Russian people's minds. I think it's safe to assume that the attendance is lower this year than in the previous year and in the years before. For obviously, if the attendance was all right, they would have released the data, don't you find? And in general, if you visit Russian churches and cathedrals and you take a look around, you will see lower attendance than usual. Now, of course, we have to compare not just 1 or 2 years, but quite a few years. Let's say 10 years or so. Why? How can I, first of all, how can I say that? I'm not in Russia any longer, okay? How can I, did I look with my own eyes? No. I haven't gone to a Russian church in quite some time. But I have reliable sources. People who are still inside Russia. People who I trust, whose opinions I trust, and this information I get from them. There are believers, my friends, people I know, and they're still in Russia and they go to churches. And this is a universal opinion that the fewer and fewer people attend Russian churches. Subjective opinions only, but that's all we can rely on. Russian church never releases official data on how many people attend services and churches and cathedrals. Anyway, subjectively, attendance is dropping. Why? Why is it dropping? Why? Is there a deficit of faith in Russia, perhaps? Well, instead of just talking about Russian church and judging it, no, I'm not going to do that. I will give you some facts about what Russian Eastern Orthodox Church has been doing in the last 3 years. And I want everyone to decide for themselves, to make their opinion of Russian church. I have made mine, and that's solely my opinion again. Now, check this out. The priests, Russian Orthodox priests, are blessing soldiers before going to fight in Ukraine. That's an official blessing. This is just one scene. If you search internet, very easy search, Google it, you will see hundreds of similar scenes. Russian priests in the Russian army. The soldiers are fighting and the priests are nearby somewhere. Releasing their sins, I guess. You will see tons of footage of priests blessing those mobilized and those who signed up and received bonuses, sign-up bonuses for signing the military contracts with the Ministry of Defense/Offense of Russian Federation. The priests bless them when they leave their homes and actually are taken to the front lines. Now, the priests bless missile called Satan, and other hardware. Check this out. This is a very famous story, and it happened on more than one occasion. This is a ballistic missile called Satan, and Russian priests sanctified. And again, a very simple Google search will fetch you hundreds, if not thousands, of different photos. Because somehow, for the reason I don't really understand, Russian people and Russian priests actually take pride in this process. They are proud of sanctifying hardware, tanks, missiles, planes. Yes, I have seen the jet planes. and they're proud of it. They're making it very public. They're bragging about it. I don't really understand why they're doing it. You sanctify the tools of death, something that brings death to other people. I can't comment on that. This is a fact, and there are numerous evidences of this fact. These facts. It's being done on a massive scale in Russia by popes, the popes of Russian Eastern Orthodox Church. Now, Patriarch Kirill, the head of Russian Church, this guy right here, he has made quite a few controversial statements. To me, as a Christian, I am a Christian, and as a believer, they sound very controversial to me. For example, on September of 2022, he said that true believers should not be afraid of death, including death in the battle. Faith makes a person very strong because it transfers his consciousness from everyday life, from material worries, to caring for the soul, caring about eternity. And when this dimension of eternity is strong in person, it becomes invincible because he ceases to be afraid of death. Namely, the fear of death drives a warrior from the battlefield, pushes the weak betrayal, and even to rebel against his brother. But genuine faith destroys the fear of death. I just quoted the head of Russian Eastern Orthodox Church, Patriarch Kirill. That's again what he said publicly in his sermon in September of 2022. I guess it was to calm down the Russian men who were being mobilized. I remember that well. I flew Russia in that time. I remember the fear that people had, the uncertainty, the horror, So he said that to calm the men who were being mobilized, who were being hunted by Russian law authorities, who were being taken by force from their families and thrown to the front lines. And most of them are dead now. Patriarch Kirill owns a yacht, a very luxurious yacht called Pallada, right there. And there have been numerous photographs of him spending time on his yacht, and there are rumors that that yacht is even chartered to reach Russians, so for top dollar, top ruble, I guess. Well, and recently, not too long ago, that information became public, and it was a scandal in the Russian media. Okay, Patriarch Kirill owns a luxurious yacht. And then, guess what happened? I don't even know how to call them, the top priests, in the vertical of power, in the vertical of Russian church there, below the Patriarch Kirill, position, the top managers of Russian Eastern Orthodox Church, they started making excuses, saying that there's nothing wrong for the Patriarch to own a yacht and other things, such as expensive furniture, houses, watches, and so forth, because that's merely a symbol of his status. I made a live stream about that, and I'm gonna place a link right here So please check it out. It's worth taking a closer look. And at the same time, we have this guy right here
Нам не нужно выдавливать из себя
teaching Russians
И нам не должно быть для того, чтобы было весело, купить себе, например, там, не знаю, что-то новое.
teaching Russians how not to be joyous about shopping for things and about owning things.
Купить новый костюм и ходить веселиться. Нет радости в покупках.
There is no joy in shopping. There is no joy in going out and buy expensive shoes or expensive suit. This is a fake joy.
Ну, полчаса порадовался, а дальше
You are happy for half an hour and then that's it. You're not happy.
купила себе новую еду. Но полдня будешь радоваться.
There's no joy in buying new shoes. Half day you will be happy.
Будешь плакать.
And then they, for example, a heel breaks down and you're gonna cry.
Радость. Нам нужно настоящее,
We need real joy,
не безумное,
not mad joy, not egotistical joy,
и не алкоголическое,
not alcoholic joy,
и не наркоманское.
not drug joy.
Нам нужна Христова радость, потому
We need the joy of Christ.
были вы в церкви в радости великой, хвалящей, благословящей Бога. Так посмотришь, все грустные, все печали, еще знаете что?
You come to church, sometimes you see that everyone is very, very sad and not joyous.
Бывает там, значит, у бабки пенсия, там,
And sometimes there's a babushka comes in and she owns like 1 or 2 rubles. She's very poor. All she has is a pension.
миллионер очень радуется.
And then she's full of joy, but the millionaire doesn't have joy. He's not happy.
Богатые люди, у них вообще радость забрана, они почти никогда не улыбаются.
The rich people, there's no joy, never happiness they have. Never. They're always unhappy. Their smiles are taken from them
У них столько забот,
because they have so many troubles.
вообще в жизни они в зеркало себе сами не улыбаются, сами себя боятся.
And then they're afraid to look at themselves at the mirror. They don't smile to themselves in the mirror, and they're afraid of themselves. The rich people, they don't have a joy. Poor people, yes, they do. And this guy is one of the top priests of Russian Church, and he's saying that after that scandal with Kirill owning a yacht and other priests coming out and saying, well, there's nothing wrong with owning very expensive furniture, very expensive things, so forth. Look at these guys, how they are dressed.
Выдавливать из себя лжи,
You know, there's no joy in shopping. There's no joy in being rich. There's no joy in owning things. Look the way they're dressed. I don't really see them wearing rugs and them being poor and thin, under eating. Okay, there's plenty of gold. There's gold everywhere. There's look at their fancy clothing. They must be joyous about that. You see, the patriarch is allowed to own the symbols of high status, such as yachts, Maybachs. Yes, the Patriarch Kirill uses Maybach, a German car, very nice one, very expensive one, exclusively. You know, it's okay for him to own Maybach, to own expensive Swiss watches, but they preach something completely different to us. No joy in being rich. Poor people, those who have barely getting by, they're joyous. Rich people, never happy. They never have joy. Smiles taken away because they're so loaded with problems. What can I say? In Russia, all people created equal, but some priests are created more equal than people. And then take a look at this.
пожалуйста, контролируйте себя, потому что если у вас нет в празднике радости, это какой-то очень сложный диагноз.
Please control yourself, because if you are not joyous during the holidays, it's a very bad diagnosis.
Страшные симптомы, сложный
It's a
диагноз.
horrible
Праздники
symptoms.
должны и приносят радование.
The holidays
Но
bring joy.
одно и то же действие благодати Божией является, по словам апостола Павла, запахом смерти в смерть для
St. Paul says the same action can have different results for different people.
грешников и запахом жизни в жизнь.
You know, holidays bring the smell of life to the rightful and the smell of death to the sinners.
Праведников. Поэтому в празднике особенно может быть грешника, так скажу таким мирским словом, колбасит.
So the sinners are
Колбасит.
extremely agitated in during the holidays.
Потому что нераскаянную душу обжигает благодать.
Sins
Не
are
веселит, но обозляет.
burning the
Если вы
souls.
в празднике особенно унылы,
And if you are not happy during the holidays, if you are sad, if you don't smile,
раздражены, особенно
agitated by something,
терпеливы, особенно как-то взвинчены,
and you are not patient,
это
stressed.
значит, что вы живете неправильно.
it means that you are not rightful, you are living wrong lives.
Образ жизни, образ мыслей, образ поведения.
Your
неправильный.
lifestyle is wrong.
Праздник нужно радоваться.
Holidays, you must be happy.
Отсутствие радости в праздник – это
Lack of
проявление
happiness in the
души,
holidays,
нераскаянной души, у которой там где-то в зале,
bad
в
sign,
домах лежат
full of sins.
нерасплаканные грехи, и она
Sins.
не дает это, значит, греховное
Sins
табаку,
don't
не дает
let
человеку проплакаться
people become happy.
во Христе. Поэтому должны быть радостные движения сердца
Must
в
be-
праздник. При чтении Писаний, при песнопениях, при причастии и так далее. Заметьте себе это.
Please note that you must be happy during the holidays. If you're agitated, if you're stressed, if you are impatient, for example, you don't know how to live in Russia with the prices skyrocketing and your salary is not being raised, increased. If you don't know how to live happily when your loved one is in Ukraine, in the front line, and if you're too stressful about that, if you are uncertain about the future, if you don't know what to do in your life, you know, if you don't support the war, if you're not happy about that, then there's something wrong with you. You're living a wrong lifestyle, full of sins. Okay, because holidays, you must be happy, you must be patient, no matter what. Be patient, be happy, be satisfied with what you have. Hey, the holidays, right? And here's Patriarch Kirill doing something very, very unusual. It looks like, at this picture, what he's doing, it resembles him anointing Vladimir Putin to the throne of Russia. And it happened in May of this past year, 2024, and I watched it live, and I made a live stream about that. I was doing a reaction live stream, and YouTube shut me down for some reason. I guess they didn't want me to show that. But this scene actually shook me because it never happened before. Vladimir Putin came into this church. It's located inside of the Kremlin, and the Patriarch Kirill gave him a speech. And basically, it looked like he was anointing him to the throne of Russia. He was blessing Putin to rule Russia. No one asked us. Putin is just a president that people supposedly voted for him. Okay, people, Russian voters, gave him permission to work for them on their behalf for the next 6 years. This scene, again, it's very unusual, very strange, very odd, and I think it's very wrong. Now, let's jump into something very recent. %42% of a Christmas sermon of Patriarch Kirill he gave to Russian people, 42% of it was about the war. Almost half of Patriarch Kirill's Christmas sermon was devoted to justifying war and his own and Putin's actions. On Christmas Day, the head of Russian Orthodox Church not only met with Putin, but he made several speeches, as sort of policy statements. He delivered an address and a Christmas sermon. In each of his speeches, he spoke about the war in Ukraine. In his Christmas sermon, the patriarch stated that he especially he asks God to bless the motherland and the president of our country, Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin, and he said that Russia is hated because Russia offers a different path, an alternative path of civilizational development. 42% of the festive text was devoted to justifying the war and its continuation. In his televised address, Patriarch stated that where God is, there is the victory. And in his sermon, he pointed out that the enemies of Russia will not succeed because God is with us, with Russia, with Russians. Thus, he actually quoted Putin's recent words about the possibility of ending the war. I believe in God, and God is with us. The patriarch called for peace, but just once, because peace without war is fragile. That's what he said. I'm sorry, peace without justice, not the word. Peace without justice is fragile. In his sermon to the children of Russia Orthodox Church, Kirill expressed special gratitude to the priests who serve in Ukraine and called them the defenders and champions of the truth. Putin's Christmas address to Russian people was also filled with spirit of militarism. And then Putin also celebrated Christmas in the Russian church along with Patriarch and other Russian officials. And that was also filled with militarism, spirit, the sense of militarism. He celebrated the holiday, the Church of St. George Victorious on Poklonnaya Gora, dedicated to the victory of Russia in the Second World War. He celebrated together with the families of military personnel, and then he met with Kirill and asked him to bless the crosses to the soldiers with Putin's initials. Well, not really the soldiers, but the generals who are fighting. Kirill blessed the crosses and compared Vladimir Putin to the Holy Prince Vladimir, the collector of Russian lands. That figure, mythical figure from the past. Now, you see, friends, I've given you a few colorful examples of public statements and actions of Russian officials, of Russian popes, Russian church. There are many more, and I think you can Google by yourself and you will run into hundreds of pictures, hundreds of videos, because like I said, they're not being hidden. They're actually being bragged about. Pictures like this, just like everywhere. I think what I've shown you today is enough for my message, for my position. I disagree with Patriarch Kirill. I have a right to disagree, to do so, because I do not have faith in Patriarch Kirill. I do not have faith in Russian Eastern Orthodox Church. I have faith in God. He said, where God is, there is victory. Russia's enemies will not succeed because God is with us. Who exactly did he mean? I don't quite understand. Did he mean who are the enemies of Russia? The Ukrainians, the Americans, the Europeans, the French, the Italian, the British? Who are the enemies? You see, I've been to many countries. I lived in the USA. I lived in Ukraine. I lived in Uzbekistan. I've traveled to many, many countries. I've traveled to most of countries in Europe. And I didn't see any enemies of Russia there. And I don't believe that God is with Russia and he abandoned Ukraine or the United States. I beg to differ. I have a very different understanding of God. I believe that God is one, the Lord Almighty, and he does not differentiate us. He doesn't say, oh, he's Ukrainian, he's Russian, he's American, he's British. That, to me, that sounds very crazy, if anyone thinks so, okay? If God is with Russia, is God with Ukraine at the same time? According to Patriarch Kirill. This logic doesn't make sense whatsoever, okay? And I think logic needs not to be applied here because it's a matter of faith. See, friends, I believe this is the key point to understand why fewer and fewer Russians attend Russian church. Just because of this. Because Russian church is how to say that precisely. It looks like it is praying to the god of war. It has been for the past 3 years. And it kind of like looks everywhere in icons, in the battlefields, near the front lines, in the actions of priests, in the words of the head of the church, in the firings of the popes that stand up, very few, but they exist. They stand up and say, you know what, we're against the war. We believe that in God, and we believe that God is peace and love and not war, and they're getting fired for that, okay? Everything that Russian church has and prays to, it's a different kind of God. It's very God that loves only Russia, according to the Russian church, and is with Russia because Russia has a very special way favored by this God. And we're talking about things that are no longer compatible with Christianity, but clearly contradicted. And clearly there's some kind of a different God now. It's not the God that I used to go to Russian church and pray to. That God is in my heart, and he still is. And I believe that God is in your hearts, and in the hearts of Ukrainians, in the hearts of Americans, in the hearts of all people who believe in God. And I believe that he is one. I believe that he loves us regardless who we are. I believe that he doesn't even care if we believe in God or not. He still loves us because we are all his children. In the last couple years, I have big confusion growing inside me, in my heart, okay? I am not confused about my faith in God. because like I said, God is in my heart, and that doesn't change with anything. No matter what Kirill says, no matter what Putin says, no matter what the popes say, it does not matter. I speak to God, I pray to God. The God is right here. But he's right here, and he's not in the churches anymore, from what I see, from how I feel. And I believe that there's a crisis of faith growing in the Russian churches. And you know what? You can't fool people, because many believe in God, and they also feel that the God is in their hearts. No matter what the priests say, they still feel God in their hearts. And there's a big confusion, because what priests say and God is kind of different thing. These things are incompatible. From what I see, Russian church has clearly taken the direction of supporting the state, supporting Vladimir Putin in all his decisions, because if you follow Russian church, you see that they defend the decisions that Russian state makes, the steps that Russian state takes. And that's a very shaky path to take, in my opinion. And I believe that more and more Russians will be voting for their gods, for their God, one God in their hearts. Because the easiest way to vote is not to attend church, to stop attending church. That's why the Russian popes have been pushing, calling for Russians to attend church, because they know what's going on, and Russian people know too. They feel in their hearts. And I believe that this situation in Russian churches will just worsen. The rhetoric will be stronger and stronger for this Russian God, the God of war. And more people will vote with their hearts and simply will pray to the God who's inside their hearts. Again, this is solely my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments. I would really appreciate that. I'm not judging Russian church. I'm sharing you what I'm seeing with my own eyes happening around me. And it's actually quite sad. I used to be a part of Russian Eastern Orthodox Church, but not any longer. Thank you so very much. Let me know what you think down below in the comments, and please, I would like to invite you to continue in the live stream chat. Let me know what you think of my message today. Not scripted, very personal, very confusing for me too, very hurting. That's how I feel. Thank you for coming. If you're here for the first time, I would like to remind you and tell you that Inside Russia is the best community on YouTube, and it is due to the help and assistance of the moderators. So Inside Russia, the best moderation team you can find anywhere in the universe. They are Lorna, Mami K, Harry Potnan, Amir Fazad, Bob S, and Dirk. Thank you, friends. I think this is could be the first time the live stream chat this year. Fantastic to see everyone. Thank you, mods, for coming. Thank you for the usual suspects for coming, as usual. If you want to see your message, if you want me to see your message easier, please put it in all caps and put Inside Russia after @ sign, so I see it kind of jumps into my eyes highlighted in orange. And if I don't answer a question, it doesn't mean I don't want to answer. Perhaps I miss it because there are many. Just keep on repeating the question, and sooner or later I'll run into it. Thank you so much. Koshkin Dom, Faith Russard, Malay, SVR from Switzerland, Jodes Rames, Bakerstock, Pamela, Sam, Scott, Larry, Samsa Solman, Alu, J Spike, Leitmotiv, Kermo, Calvin, long time no see. Hey, still remember your sacks of potatoes every time I shop for potatoes, actually. Thanks for coming, long time no see. Fritz, Mac, howdy. Andres, Benz, Petra Olson, Dog Lover, Dale, Angela McNaw, Mr. Jetty, M. Muller. Howdy, friends. Thank you for coming. Tough topic. Very tough topic. Very emotional. Well, I hope you liked it. Let me know what you think. Dale says, I totally agree. Thank you so much. Well, I'm not alone. That's good to know. Dog Lover from rainy Jacksonville, Florida. Well, rain is better than snow. No political topics. Thank you, Bob. There was one interesting comment, not only the Pope, but Mr. Jetty 89, we're God's children if we do his will. I think regardless whether we do his will or we don't, we're still his children. I'll give you an example of my father. He was a non-believer, agnostic, not aggressive, but he always made fun of my mom, who attended church. And he was so until 48 years old. And then a miracle happened in his life, and God showed him something. And my father became believer, and he started serving God, and he became a preacher, a church caretaker. So his life was divided until he turned 48 and after, without God and with God. Can I say that my father wasn't God's child before 48? No, because he didn't change. He became a believer, but he was a nice guy before, and he remained being the same person after. J Spike, what church, if you any, do you attend now? I do not attend any church. I pray every day, multiple times, and I pray publicly with you. I invite everyone to join me in prayer today as well. I pray to the God, Lord Jesus Christ, who is in my heart. That's who I pray. This is the church that I attend. Rick Williams, it's not judging, saying what you see and know. The Bible says hold them accountable. It's not judging. Thank you so much. And this is the point I was trying to make too, because I am not here to judge. Do not judge and you will not be judged, said Jesus. Okay, and that's what I try to do. I'm a sinner, of course. Sometimes, I fail not to judge, but I try to control it as much as I can. Hertfordshire or Hertfordshire? Karen, thank you for coming. Hertfordshire. Very hard word for me to pronounce. Hertfordshire. Kelvin, good book I'm reading that I think will help you. The Unseen Realm by Dr. Michael Heiser. Thank you so much. I'll make a note of that. Yelena Arrington, good to see you. All religions are hooked to their government. There is no split. I tend to agree. I differentiate religion and faith. I didn't used to in the past, but from what I have seen. Carlos, thank you so much. I agree 100%. Well, it's good to know. There's 3 of us now at least. God is for everybody, believers and non-believers, regardless of nationality, ethnicity, religion, etc. Again, I can't say for everyone. This is just my personal thoughts and my personal beliefs. I believe that God loves us all regardless, because there's God inside each one of us, because there's love in our hearts. I have not seen one person without love once. Some have more, some have less, but everyone has love, and God is love. So that means that there's God inside each one of us. And whether we believe in God or don't, that just doesn't matter, really. Rafaela, are you Rafaela from by any chance? Or just same name? Please let me know. Victor Bermudez, howdy, from Spain, south of Spain. Happy New Year and greetings, sending my love from Uzbekistan. Sam K, is that true that Putin is a twin brother of Borat? Sam the Legend K, the Mr. Humor of Inside Russia. Well, you go and ask Putin, or you can go and ask Borat, if you will. Mr. JT89, the Russian Church was basically a branch of the KGB, now FSB. Not too many people know that, but all priests of Russian Eastern Orthodox Church were murdered, executed by Stalin. And after the war, I believe it was 1947, the new church was established. Well, technically it was the same church, but the new priests were sent to church, and 100 of them were the agents of the KGB. Okay, so there is truth in that statement, Mr. JT89. Andy Arbeit. Kirill declared holy war on Ukraine. First time an Orthodox Church did it. Well, that's one of the episodes of what I gave you today. And there are many more crazy ones like that. This certainly doesn't go along with what I believe in. My God does not support declaring holy war on Ukraine. My God is love. My God is forgiveness. It's empathy. It's peace. You know, it's certainly not holy war. Sam M, howdy. What are your thoughts on Lex Fridman and Zelensky interview? No thoughts, because I have not watched it yet. It's on my bucket list. I will watch soon. Do I have any plans to discuss it? Depends on what I think about it. Perhaps not. I don't know. Larry Barth. The winter wonderland called Canada, minus 22 Celsius, plus 10 Celsius in Tashkent today. Sunny. Canada is too cold. Carrie Lang, I missed this. Well, no problem. You can watch it, after. Ron Gravel, we're all from the same spirit force. And this is what I believe in. I believe that people can believe in different, some believe in God, some believe in universe, some believe in the divine. It's all the same. And some say it's the same spirit force. This is God. It's just a different name. Jodes Rames says the kitty is doing well. Well, it's good to know, Jodes. We had a pretty sad discussion about the kitty of Jodes Rames on Saturday in a private only for patrons live stream that we do every Saturday. If you want to be a part of it, join the Patreon, the account of Inside Russia on Patreon, and become patron, and join us every Saturday. It's more personal streams. There are no messages. We just hang out, so to speak, in a virtual pub. RW, great to see you. YouTube isn't playing nicely with me today. Saw your message. Thank you very much. I will reply. Thank you for your suggestions. Thank you to your wife. Hasn't been playing with me nicely at all in the last 6 months. Veronica Mifsad, JP, howdy. Ron. JP, do you really believe Jesus could walk over water? Look, Jesus resurrected. I believe he could walk over the water. In general, I believe in miracles. And I think that miracles happen every day to each one of us. It's just we don't see them. People need to see a person flying to believe in miracle. But let me tell you an example, okay? Comes October 8th, and I get struck by Bell's palsy. It's a medical condition that basically half of my face did not move. Many of you remember that. Did happen not too long ago. And boy, that was scary. I'm still shaking. Remember what I was feeling. I thought this is it. I thought I was having a stroke. I thought I couldn't speak. I couldn't move my face. Trust me, it's scary. You don't want to go through that experience. I ran to a hospital, and I ran into a first doctor, and neurologist and physician, two doctors, and they started helping me. They diagnosed me, and they treated me for quite some time. And they did an excellent job because I healed. I move my face, I smile, everything is back to normal. Bell's palsy is a very serious condition. 5% of people never recover, and 5% recover partially. Only 90% of people recover completely. And the miracle was, you see, I never had any experience of anything like that. I had never been sick seriously. And when I had that, things started happening for me. I got incredible help. Doctors at Tashkent Breakfast Club started reaching out to me, started recommending other doctors. I got help from you, so many prayers, so many good emails. the best possible scenario happened with me. I recovered in 2 weeks, which is unheard of. None of the doctors who were treating me, they hadn't heard anything like that. They gave me 1 to 3 months at best, okay? I was cared for. People reached out. They offered all kinds of help, all kinds of assistance, and I call this a miracle. Another miracle is happening right in front of my eyes right now. Another member of Tashkent Breakfast Club got Bell's palsy right before New Year. And his wife called my wife, and she was hysterical. She was scared. I know the feeling, okay? And, of course, I jumped in, and I talked to the guy, and I tried to calm him down, and I started helping him. I told him what Bell's palsy is. I told him that I have good doctors. I immediately called the doctor that I talked to, who healed me, who treated me. I connected this guy with a doctor, well, actually 2 doctors. I offered them money, assistance. I offered to go out and help him out if he couldn't move. Well, he could move. It's Bell's palsy, but, I still offered the assistance. I gave a call in Tashkent Breakfast Club, and a lot of people offered their assistance and help, okay? We tried to surround that fella with love and assistance and help, okay? And I believe that's also a miracle. And in this case, I'm just being a tool, one of the tools that God is using to help this guy. And guess what? Right before New Year, Bell's palsy struck him, and now he's moving his face a little bit. The doctors who got in touch with him, they are treating him, and they're doing a good job on him as well. And the guy is surrounded by love, by prayers, by assistance. He felt alone when he started speaking to me, but he doesn't any longer. And it's not just me. It's not. I'm not taking any credit for that. That's God's work. That's God's miracle, and he's gonna be all right. He felt very bad in the beginning. He felt scared. He felt he didn't know what to do. He felt abandoned. Look what God does. So Jesus walking on water, it's not the biggest miracle in my eyes, These things that happen to us, all of us, every single day, that we just most likely don't realize in most cases, that they are real miracles. Sorry, it took me a long time to answer. Craig Hughes, it's not a betrayal of faith to ignore the commandments. I'm not sure what you mean. I don't quite understand. Please explain. Spencer, unfortunately, I watched my 96-year-old grandmother lose my father, then saw my 63-year-old mother lose my brother. It's hard to believe God needed them more than we did. It's my personal opinion. And again, I'm not to judge anyone, and I don't claim that I am right. I could be wrong, but this is what I believe in. I believe that we don't know these things. I believe that there's a plan. In my life, I have seen it. I keep on seeing it over and over again. Something terrible happens, and then it turns out later, sometimes much later, then it is part of not the plan, but the picture of my life, okay? And we just don't know. God needed them more than we did. We don't know what was their purpose. We don't know, perhaps there is hardship sent to these people on purpose. I don't know that, okay? I know it happened in my life. My father died when he was 68. Well, it's different situation, but it was not easy, okay? I know a lot of people say, well, how God can do this or that? Well, to me, the answer is very clear and very simple. I personally don't know. Therefore, I can't say that whether he needed someone more than their mothers or fathers or whatever. I have found the answer for myself. Snail Jail, long time watcher here, since like 3 or 4 years. Well, thank you so very much. So you're a usual suspect. Thank you for coming out and joining us in the chat. But this one stuck. There was one leader and his cable that used that slogan too. God with us, or God mit uns. I know the leader that you mean. Well, very sad. Snail Jail. You know, I've been doing these live streams and videos for 3 years now, almost every day. And if you extract this spirit from all the live streams, there will be a spirit of change. Basically, what I'm doing, I'm documenting Russia changing. And I think that is changing into the direction that what you mentioned. And this is a tragedy. This is I don't know what to say. But I think you are spot on. Spencer, I like your phrase, respect to all who breathe. I like that. That's my kind of philosophy too. Ron, I think we're all parts of the same spirit force. We're all spiritual children. I believe animals are too. Recent studies, recent discoveries show that animals have feelings too and emotions, and that kind of makes them spiritual beings as well. So I'm very confused about animals, but I don't feel the same to animals as I used to. They're just animals. No, not so anymore. George Rames, is the church taxed in Russia? That's a great question. And guess what the answer is? Exempt. And church does a lot of business. It imports a lot of goods, a lot of alcohol. That's a big business. Yes, Russian church does import that. Tax-free. Cigarettes, tax-free, and other things, tax-free. And resells it, I guess. That part I don't know well. I just know it exists inside church, these departments or these directions, these organizations. So they're exempt from being taxed, huh? How do you like that? Koshkin Dom, here in Norway, we observe a very good relation between the Lutheran Church of Norway and the Orthodox Church of Ukraine, present among refugees, at least a positive outcome. I don't see a reason why there wouldn't be a good relation between people who truly believe in God. God is one. Don't tell me that the Lutherans in Norway believe in a different God than Ukrainians from Orthodox Church. It's the same God. It's just the way we look at him, perhaps a different angle, but it doesn't make him different. Oh my gosh, Rafaela From, long time. Holy moly, thank you for coming. It's fantastic to see you. You know, Rafaela, I give you story so many times. I've given it so many times over these years. People ask me, well, I have told the story of how I was fleeing Russia quite a few times, and I've been telling everyone that you are a key part of that story, because as I was sitting trying to decide, and your email came right at that moment when you said, look, long time no see, but I just had a feeling I have to write this verse to you. And I was looking at the verse and I couldn't believe it was the answer to my question I was asking God. And, I quoted the verse so many times, and well, thank you. Thank you so much. Just know that you've been, you have been sent to me by God, and that's another miracle. That's probably one of the biggest miracles that happened to me. Okay, that's all I gotta tell. Thank you so much, Danke schön. I hope your daughter is doing well and your family. Please come back more often. Thank you. All my family knows the story. All my friends. I've spoken it. I've told it so many times in the Breakfast Club, and wow, it's fantastic to see you. Keith. Ali, not Ali, I'm sorry. Been watching you for a few years. I'm happy that you're doing better. Missed most of the live stream, but I appreciate the basic and unintentional volunteer work you're doing. Well, it is volunteer, all right, because you know, it's a long story. I am in constant negotiations and communications with YouTube, and the more I speak to these guys, the more I get confused. And there's always one way out: to sue them. But I've never sued anyone in my life, and I would hate to sue Google. You know, it's just it's comical and sad situation at the same time. Most Russian propaganda folks who are in Russia, okay, they go outside Russia, set up fake accounts. Well, not fake, but they mislead Google. They lie to Google saying they're not in Russia, and then they set up their accounts, or they simply ask someone from abroad to register an account for them, and that's it. And they keep on getting paid by Google. I'm trying to do everything in an honest way, and they shut me down like 4 times already. So that is volunteer work, that's for sure. A priest blessing a missile named the Satan sounds like something out of one of your Stephen King novels. RW, I've said that story quite a few times. If you missed it, that's happened a few times. These popes, they keep on sanctifying the ballistic missiles, and according to NATO classification, they're called the Satan. Satan. Oh no, not NATO. I'm sorry. In Russia, they called Satana. They actually freaking called the ballistic missile Satana that carries nuclear charges. Russian world, Russian values. I mean, they want to spread these values all over the world, the warheads. Anyway, don't get me going. So, yeah, it's certainly straight out of Stephen King's novel. By the way, would you like to know how to stay safe in Stephen King's world, in Stephen King's universe? One simple rule. Just stay away from the state of Maine as far as possible, and you'll be safe. Pinda the Peanut. Friends, disrespect is the ticket to timeout vacation, says Sam K. Thank you. Pinda, hello. There's a reason why there should be a divide between state and church. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I said so many times that my values are very simple. They are God, freedom, family, freedom, and hard work. Okay? No more, no less. I value God. God is number one. Number two is freedom. I also believe that should be a divide between state and church. And I also believe that everyone has a personal relationship with God. And everyone is free to believe or not to believe. It's our lives are journeys. And we don't know what God has in our lives for us, okay? Perhaps we must evolve somehow and we must come to God. And that happens, just look at my father, okay? Perhaps God... Well, anyway, I believe that everyone is free to choose his or her path, okay? And I believe that God loves us all regardless. I think time is up. Dale, I agree with staying away from the state of Maine. Yeah, I lived there for 9 years and I was trying to get away from it, but I couldn't. It's like a magnet. It sucks you in, you know. At least they didn't call missiles hammer of God. Algonquin a few times. Yeah, Algonquin is a fun place. For me, Old Orchard Beach and Saco Biddeford. And I went to school in Portland. I lived in Portland for a year. Then commuted. 2 minutes to midnight. Long time no see. Thank you. Shears Ire. Howdy, howdy. What would be the ramification if the church openly opposed the war? I don't know. Priests arrested? Most likely. I think that FSB would just... they would probably replace the priests with different ones who wouldn't support the war. I think that's what would happen. Um, well, JP, you know what? I have made my choice. I have given myself the answer who loves me. And, you know, you are free to find the answer for yourself. Okay? I don't care what you think. I can only talk about myself. That's all. Like I said, I have found my answer. And right now, I invite everyone to pray to our God. And there's only one. And, let's, if you are a believer, please join me. If you're a non believer, you can call it whatever you like. Asking the universe, praying to universe, the divine, sending good energy to people, good vibes. I'm going to be asking God to send everyone love, peace, happiness, and love, I guess. That's the main thing. So please join me. Do that, no matter how you call it. So let's do it. Dear Lord Jesus Christ, thank you so much for giving us this day. Thank you for food that you placed on our tables, roof that you've given over our heads. Thank you for the loved ones that you've surrounded us with. Thank you for our families. Please give us wisdom to keep the skies above our children's heads safe and peaceful. Give us wisdom to raise our children in a way that when they grow up and become adults, they will never participate in any wars. They will just love each other and will make this world a better place. For now, please keep our children healthy and safe. Dear Lord, I'm asking for Ukraine. Please bring peace to the country. Help all Ukrainians who have been affected by this terrible tragedy. Answer their prayers and make their wishes come true. Reach out and touch the hearts and souls of those who are responsible and capable of making the decision to stop the bloodshed. Send love into their hearts. Fill them with remorse, forgiveness, mercy, empathy. Have them wake up from this lethargic sleep that they've been sleeping in. Remind them that they're still human beings with love inside their hearts, so they make the decision to stop the bloodshed. Please give wisdom to all who will be starting the peace negotiations very soon, so the peace is reached. Please help my country, Russia. Assemble your strongest angels with sharpest swords into the heavenly army led by Saint Michael and send them to get rid of all the demons who have hijacked my country, who we know by their names and by their faces. Send your angels to help good Russians run the country and make it peaceful, respecting and loving. Please help everyone who is traveling, send them safe travels. Help everyone who is seeking asylum of any kind, running away from evil. Help everyone who is in trouble and dire straits, send help. Help single mothers and fathers who are struggling raising their children, trying to make ends meet. Help those who are helping Ukrainians, help those Ukrainians who are currently under attacks or threats of attacks from Russian missiles. Send everyone safety. Please help those who are addicted, sick, cold, hungry, jobless, homeless, crying, betrayed, losing their faith, feeling lonely and alone, feeling abandoned, please touch the hearts of all people in need and fill them with love. Show them that you have not abandoned them. Show them that you still love them. Show them that you are still right next to them, watching every step they take and helping them with every move. Send everyone love, dear God. Thank you so very much for allowing us to come together and pray. Thank you for so many people who are praying along with me right now or simply watching us pray. Answer everyone's prayer and send everyone, make everyone's wish come true. Thank you. I have a few people I want to ask for. They are Rafaela Fromm and her family, Ann Larson and her daughter Hannah, Denise Abbott, Renate, Janice Burgess, Derek Martinez, Galaxy Rider, Alex, Mark, Hank's sister, who is in Sloan's hospital. Please send recovery. Tom W., J.R. McKim, Gabing with Gary, Lisa Kumrian, Harry and his family, Terry Carter, John, Linda, Paula W., Dennis, Jason, Susie, Tim, Dory, Rhonda, John, Taylor, Wayne, Dave, Don, Darla, George, Pamela, Meta, David, his family, and everyone who's in Chernovtsi, Ukraine. Leif, Randolph, Grace, Dean Spooner and his church, Elena, Natasha, Michael, Jake, Oля, Dasha, Sky, Svetlana, Sergey, Liz, Ron, Liz, Koshkin, Dom, Sandra, Mike and Mike, Petra Olson, Joseph, Melissa, Jodes, Millie, Philip, Eileen, Highwayman, Victor, and Pamela. Thank you, dear Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Friends, thank you very much for coming. It's fantastic to see everyone. Thank you for staying and discussing such emotional and difficult to discuss topic. I would like to remind you, everyone, that you're awesome and you rock. And it's so great to see Rafaela again. Thank you. Please come back tomorrow. There will be a live stream with another topic and a live stream chat. There will be a news update on Wednesday, Wacky Wednesday news. And as usual, on Thursday will be another topic with live stream chat. And Friday, the news update, the weekend review, week number 2. And the news are getting crazier and crazier. So thank you very much for coming. You're awesome and you rock. And at the end, as usual, please, along with me, say out loud as you can, Carthago delenda est.